Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Today, we're diving into the incredible life of Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. This is the story of a sickly teenager who inherited a civil war and became one of history's most successful rulers. Let's get started. Early life and Caesar's assassination. Our story begins in 63 BCE with the birth of Gaius Octavius. He was a sickly child from a modest patrician family, but his mother was the niece of Julius Caesar. When Octavius was just 4, his father died, and his great-uncle Caesar became his mentor. Despite his poor health, young Octavius impressed Caesar with his intelligence and determination, even traveling through enemy territory at 17 to join Caesar's military campaign in Spain. Then in 44 BCE, everything changed. 18-year-old Octavius was studying in Greece when news arrived. Julius Caesar had been assassinated on the Ides of March by senators led by Brutus and Cassius. But the real shock came when Caesar's will was read. Caesar had posthumously adopted Octavius as his son and made him his primary heir. Overnight, this sickly teenager became Gaius Julius Caesar Octavianus, Octavian, inheriting Caesar's name, wealth, and the loyalty of his veterans. Everyone told him to refuse. Mark Antony, Caesar's right-hand man, mocked him. The Senate didn't take him seriously. But Octavian accepted, and that decision changed history. The rise to power. What happened next showed pure political genius. Octavian went directly to Caesar's veterans, paid them bonuses from his inheritance, and within months had his own private army. He brilliantly played the Senate and Mark Antony against each other. When he was just 20 years old, he marched his legions to Rome and demanded the consulship. Facing his army, the Senate agreed, making him the youngest consul in Roman history. Then came an unexpected move. Octavian made peace with Mark Antony. In 43 BCE, they formed the Second Triumvirate with another general named Lepidus. But first, they launched the proscriptions, legalized murder of their political enemies. Hundreds of senators were killed, including the famous Order Cicero. Octavian was barely 20 and already ruthlessly eliminating Rome's elite. After defeating Caesar's assassins at the Battle of Philippi in 42 BCE, the triumvirs divided the Roman world. Antony took the wealthy east, Octavian the war-torn west, and Lepidus got Africa. The path to supremacy for the next decade, Octavian played the long game. While Antony lived luxuriously in Egypt with Queen Cleopatra, Octavian stayed in Italy doing the unglamorous work of governing and, most importantly, controlling public opinion. He wasn't a great general. His friend Agrippa did the actual fighting, but he was a master of propaganda. He portrayed himself as a modest Roman devoted to traditional values, while painting Antony as a foreign-influenced traitor who'd abandoned Rome for an Egyptian queen. In 36 BCE, Octavian stripped Lepidus of power. Now it was just him and Antony, and everyone knew a final confrontation was coming. Octavian obtained Antony's will and revealed that Antony wanted to be buried in Egypt and was leaving Roman territories to his children with Cleopatra. Romans were outraged. Octavian declared war on Cleopatra. Everything came down to the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE. When the battle turned against them, Cleopatra's ships fled and Antony followed her, abandoning his own men. His forces surrendered immediately. A year later, both Antony and Cleopatra committed suicide in Egypt. At 32, Octavian stood alone as master of the entire Roman world. Becoming Augustus now came Octavian's greatest trick. He had absolute power, but knew Romans hated kings. They'd killed Caesar for seeming too royal. So in 27 BCE, Octavian went before the Senate and dramatically announced he was restoring the Republic and giving back his emergency powers. The Senate, filled with his supporters, immediately begged him to stay. After pretending to reluctantly agree, he accepted certain limited powers, temporarily, of course. They gave him a new name, Augustus, meaning the revered one. He called himself just Princeps, first citizen, not emperor. It was brilliant political theater. Augustus controlled the armies, provinces, and treasury, all real power, but wrapped it in republican language and traditions. He ruled as an absolute monarch while maintaining the comforting fiction that the Republic still existed. The Golden Age and personal tragedy with power secured, Augustus transformed Rome. He reorganized the provinces, created a professional standing army, established Rome's first police and fire brigades, and reformed the tax system. He was a master builder who claimed, "I found Rome a city of brick and left it a city of marble," constructing magnificent temples, forums, and public buildings. He supported great poets like Virgil and Horace. This era became known as the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. For the first time in generations, the Mediterranean wasn't constantly at war. Trade flourished and culture thrived. But his personal life was tragic. Augustus desperately wanted a dynasty, but fate worked against him. His only child was his daughter Julia. He groomed his nephew Marcellus as heir, but Marcellus died at 19. Then he adopted Julia's sons Gaius and Lucius as heirs, but both died young. Meanwhile, Julia scandalized Rome with her affairs, and Augustus was forced to exile his own daughter in 2 BC. It broke his heart. With no options left, he reluctantly adopted his stepson Tiberius, whom he never particularly liked. Death and legacy in 9 CE, disaster struck when 3 Roman legions were destroyed in Germania's Teutoburg forest. Nearly 20,000 men wiped out. Sources say Augustus was so distraught he would shout, "Quintilius Varus, give me back my legions." He abandoned plans to conquer Germania and established Rome's northern frontier at the Rhine and Danube rivers. On August 19, 14 CE, Augustus died at age 75. His last words were, "Have I played my part in the comedy of life well?" When assured he had, he said, "Then applaud as I exit." The Senate immediately declared him a god, and the system he created lasted for centuries. Conclusion: Augustus was full of contradictions. He was sickly but outlived all rivals. He was ruthless, responsible for thousands of deaths, yet brought unprecedented peace. He accumulated absolute power but disguised it so brilliantly that people barely noticed. He transformed Rome from a war-torn republic into a stable empire and created the template for Western government, law, and culture. Not bad for a sickly orphan who inherited a civil war at 18. What do you think? Genius statesman or calculating tyrant? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe for more historical deep dives. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our content. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, stay curious about history.